On January 2nd, 2014, adequate notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been furnished by inclusion thereof in the annual schedule of meetings for 2014, which has been posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, filed with the Borough Clerk, faxed to the Our Town, the Record, the Community News, and the County Seat newspapers, and distributed to all persons, if any, requesting copies of the same pursuant to said act. In case of an emergency or fire alarm, you must evacuate the building by using any of the exit doors in the room. They're immediately to my right, and the double doors at the rear of the room. Occupants must exit the building by using the staircase and not the elevator. This meeting is being recorded by both video and audio and may be rebroadcast.
Everyone, please rise for the flag salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Padovano.
Here.
Council members: Lindenau.
Here.
Moroni.
Here.
Eisenberg.
Here.
Messer.
Here.
Fabre.
Here.
Ballerini.
Here.
Borough Attorney Ronald Verio.
Here.
Borough Clerk Jean Pellegra is here. Borough Administrator Roberta Stone.
Here.
Mr. Poliniak, Borough Engineer. Listen, monthly report.
Honorable Mayor and Council, our office issued an engineer's report for tonight's meeting dated the 7th of this month. There are 3 items listed within the report. The first item relates to the Economic Recovery Program project, in particular the Spring Valley Pump Station. An update as it relates to what's illustrated within the report. We recently, or actually yesterday, received some correspondence from the borough's conflict attorney. It appears that all the conditions with respect to the agreement have been addressed. The items that remain open are just some financial items that could be listed within the agreement, which includes potential rate fees that the borough would pay for this connection, and those would be under negotiation. The second item within the report is the East Hunter Avenue, Spring Valley Road, and West Fairlawn Avenue parking lot project. We've received correspondence directly from the contractor, and it appears within the next 2 weeks they'll begin construction, and construction will ramp up on that project. We envision them beginning on East Hunter Avenue with the street trees, and then we continue with the paving, sidewalk, and curbing along the roadway. The third item in the report relates to the Grand Avenue Traffic Engineering Services, the traffic flow study. We understand the borough has authorized our office to proceed with the study. The first work has to be to gather some trip information with respect to gathering traffic counts. Our office will be setting automated traffic detectors within the roadways to gather traffic flow and information with respect to that. We'd like the snowbanks to melt first before placing those so that they don't get damaged within the right-of-way. An item that's not listed within the report that I'd like to address relates to the Magnolia Avenue sewer emergency that occurred. Ms. Stern had brought up some inconsistencies with respect to some of the documentation that we've provided to the borough. We're going to address that with Ms. Stern and the contractor. Other than that, I'd be glad to field any questions or comments to the borough.
Do you have any questions for the borough engineer?
Yeah, just basically, I was the one that brought it to the borough administrator's attention. We already need some better detail on what's going on there. There's some math errors in the numbers as well, so how that difference.
Yeah, we've had it before that. But
Yeah, we'll be before that.
Also, just we had a conversation regarding that zoning map update. I know we have a planning board meeting in a couple of weeks. You think we might be able to have a draft update?
Most definitely.
Sort of
It's something
to the planning board.
very quickly.
Great.
A day or so.
Okay. Fantastic. Anybody else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. There are no presentations, proclamations. At this time, open the meeting to the public. Anybody from the public wish to speak regarding any item? Just state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Angelo Bondi. I am the owner of Mario's Pizza in Maywood. Okay. I have a question regarding, every 5 years, all the restaurant owners are required to take a food safety manager's course. What's happened, Margaret has been coming by. We take, whoever takes this course from each store, it expires every 5 years. The problem is, it's not a problem, it's just Maywood ordinance says that it's good for 3 years. Now, Margaret comes by every 3 years, even though my certificate expires every 5 years. Why does Maywood only allow it to be good for 3 years? And can it be changed
I don't know.
for 5 years?
I don't have the answer to why there's that inconsistency, but I'll certainly bring it up at the next Board of Health meeting with the Board of Health and see
I have a
if there's a
copy.
legitimate reason for it.
I have
or
the
not.
copy of the certificate if you guys want to see it.
Sure. If there is a legitimate reason, we'll certainly address it with you. If there is no reason and it's just a matter of being an inconsistent ordinance with the state or county law, then we'll amend our ordinance to comply with the state and county.
Angela, is she going to all the businesses at the same time every 3 years, or is it 3 years from the last time she went to you?
Well, when you see at the bottom, there's an expiration, right? So she knows when that expires. And she'll come like a few months before and say, it's time for you to take the course again. I mean, it's an intensive course. It's, 1 month going to school and things that we already know, but it expires in 5 years, but the town of Maywood allows only 3 years. So a lot of towns, they go for 5 years. I mean,
Well,
why?
It seems like wouldn't it be best to just say you have to have a valid certificate, and whatever the length of the certificate is, would be...
That's the way it should be. When it expires every 5 years, you have to go to the Bergen County Health Department and pay a fee and take the course again, like you're taking it the first time, and then it'll be good for another 5 years. And I asked Margaret, I said, why is it expire in Maywood 3 years? He says, well, that's that's the ordinance in Maywood.
All right.
He says, talk to your mayor and see what you can do to change it. So
We'll bring it up at the next Board of Health meeting, which will be probably before the next meeting, Mayor and Council meeting. If there's no reason for the inconsistency and it's just a quirky Maywood thing, then
yeah, some towns, they said, I
address
asked
it.
Margaret, and some towns are good for 3 years, and a lot of towns are good for 5 years, whatever expires, and I think 5 years is fair.
Wouldn't it be better just to put no time limit on it and just say you have to have a valid
Exactly.
certificate and whatever...
It
length of
expires
time-
it expires every 5 years, and that's the time you should renew it.
Yeah.
There's no reason why it should last 3 years.
We'll talk about it with the Board of Health.
Thank you.
Margaret.
Thank you
so
so much.
Anybody else from the public? Okay. Close the meeting to the public. We have public hearing on pending ordinances. Read them by title.
Ordinance 514, an ordinance to amend Part 4 Board of Health legislation, Chapter 391 of the Code of the Borough of Maywood, titled Food Establishments, Establishing a Temporary Food Establishment License. Ordinance 614, an ordinance to amend Chapter 287, subsection 43, Chapter 287, subsection 45, and Chapter 287, subsection 52 of the Borough of Maywood Code in the Borough of Maywood, State of New Jersey.
Any public comment on any of those ordinances? Either one of the ordinances, 5-14 or 6-14? Anybody?
Disregarding
I'm going to back up to the microphone.
Should I state my name again, or?
Sure, go ahead.
Angelo Bondi. Is this regarding the health department, the fair that we pay a fee? Is that what it's
It's
regarding?
for all temporary licenses that go on with any events in town that we have, Fall Fest, things like that. However, if you pay your licensing fee annually, which you do, you're not going to get charged again. This is really for people who are showing up for this one-time event.
Well, that's funny, because I've been paying every year.
Well, you pay a fire prevention fee. I think you're
No.
complaining.
No. I pay a fire prevention fee, and I pay a health department fee. The health department fee is $25, and then the fire department is another $45. So there are two separate checks that I write every year for the fair. But it was a question that I brought up last year, and I said, wait a minute. I'm an establishment, a food establishment that pay a fee every year, and I have a license. And then they said, well, Margaret comes out and she has to do the inspection, and I paid her $25. And I did it last year and the year before and the year before. No, I paid by check. I paid by check. Not cash.
Is that at each event, you pay it for the
Every
street
single-
fair and for the fall festival?
Fall festival, no. Not the fall festival. Only the street fair. There's 2 street fairs a year, pay $25 each one, plus if you have an open flame, you need to pay
That'll
Open flame
continue.
permit.
Yeah, the open
Right.
flame permit will continue.
But I write 2 separate checks every
Well,
year.
we'll take a look and see why you're writing the other check, because you shouldn't be. If you pay the licensing fee and you're paying it annually, it should count for it. But we'll make sure that that gets addressed before April.
Thank you.
All right. Good. Good thing you showed up tonight. Anybody else want to discuss these ordinances? Okay. Close it to the public. And I ask for a motion for adoption. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Maroni?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Messer?
Yes.
Fabré?
Yes.
Ballerini?
Yes.
Be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Maywood that ordinances 514 and 614 be and they are passed upon second and final reading. Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to advertise the same according to law.
Okay. Correspondence. Borough Clerk's report.
Just to advise council, our rescue truck was, the title was turned over today. Check was received, and they'll be picking that up. And regarding the financial disclosure statements that all of the borough officials are required to fill out each year, there's a new process that they're still working on with a vendor, and I'll actually be going to a class on the 26th regarding this, and I would say in the next month they'll be available to be done. That's all I have.
Okay. Before we move on with the Borough Minister, I'm sorry I didn't see the police chief's here. We asked him to come forward tonight to discuss vehicle purchases. Chief?
Thank you, and I do apologize for coming at such short notice, but something did arise today with the purchase of police cars that we normally purchase every year. Thank you. Every year we purchase 2 patrol cars from the borough budget, and we usually get them ordered usually around March. They're done through state contracting through a person at Winter, contractor at Winter Ford. We started the process. We were looking at the vehicles, replacing 2 cars, and this year looking to replace 1 of the detective cars. They're both agents. Again, with the DEA trust account, we purchased 2 cars out of the operating budget, and then we could purchase any other vehicles beyond that out of the trust account. So the request was to purchase 2 patrol vehicles from the operating account with an additional car from the DEA trust account. We started with looking at the Dodge Chargers that we had. Nice cars, but we're having extreme problems with maintenance. There's only 2 service centers here in Teterboro and Paramus, and they're both horrendous. We had a period that we had to bring in parts now for almost 3.5, 4 weeks for minor repair, waiting for the dealership in Teterboro to take care of it. So, quite honestly, I really don't want to stick with the Dodge product, and only because of the maintenance and the service and the lack of it, that we have here in Bourbon County now by us. The next choice, we're looking at, again, at vehicles and cars. We're looking at the Ford vehicle, the sedan vehicle, and we had gotten prices, and we're working towards that. However, this year, and I realized it was an abundant snowstorm, talking to certain people and the officers, we're looking more towards something that would work better in inclement weather. And what that is, and you'll see them around, is the Ford, they call them Ford Interceptor utility vehicles, which is what I presented to you in the handout. There are, can maneuver better in snow, they will have four-wheel drive capabilities in the snow. We were actually taken back by the snowstorms this year because of the vehicles. We had chains, and after the snowstorm, driving around on the chains, they were breaking, we couldn't get replacements. We actually ended up using the Tahoe vehicle that we have, which is still damaged from the accident, so the passenger door is hard to get in and out of. We had to utilize the fire prevention vehicle, which is a four-wheel drive vehicle, and we had to utilize the old borough administrators for downstairs. And I guess you can realize that going on emergency calls and that is kind of horrendous. So this is the reason why in Portland we'd rather go with an all-wheel drive vehicle like these type of vehicles here. So we had contacted the dealer, we got the prices all set. Speaking to them today, situation came up that the order deadline is Friday for these vehicles. Usually they have extended them, but for some reason Warner Ford is not extending this time. What they usually do is they order extra vehicles and they put them on the lot. We did that one year, and what happens, we got stuck because the vehicle that they put on their lot, they put all their accessories on. They put all their emergency lights, they put their cages, and they put all their stuff at their prices, which when we get our vehicles, we have a separate vendor who gives us much better prices than the dealer. So the urgency basically is to order the vehicles now the way we like them, rather than, waiting a couple of weeks and then having to take the car off at a lot. It's going to have the excessive equipment and the excessive price from Warner Ford.
I think it's just the total price here, it looks like it's $34,415 for each vehicle. I think our resolution that was drafted earlier today says
You didn't have
$26,484, which I
the
presume
paperwork we
didn't
got
include the
this
painting or
morning.
Well, all the
lights.
additional lights and
Yeah.
everything weren't included in the documents that you brought up.
If you look at the bottom prices, 34, that's not the price that's quoted. Eliminate that. That is from the dealer. That is the emergency lights and everything else from the dealer. We're looking at basically the vehicle cost, $26,484. And then on the vehicles that we're ordering for patrol, we had the $500 because they had the extra white paint on it. So that is the base price that we're talking about.
Okay. So we're
The
talking about...
additional $7,000 is the lighting package, which we do much better with our private vendor here in Bourbon County.
Right.
They have the lights on.
So the requisitions,
Just $1,000 difference.
So the $26,984 is correct for the
Yes.
two vehicles?
For
Yes.
two vehicles, and plus $500 each for the painting.
that
No,
included,
that's
the
not included.
984 includes the 5, it's without that.
Yes.
So what we have was correct. This is just misleading,
Right.
and
And
we
then
didn't
the one-
really...
This is the way the vendor gave it to us. I printed it off of that.
And then
I changed the copy for the requisition that was made.
Then the one out of the DEA account will be $26,484 because we're not getting the white on it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And that's not going to be a marked
So the
car,
resolution-
obviously.
The resolutions are correct.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions for the chief regarding this? I mean, I think I kind of passed out a little picture I got off the internet of what these interceptors look like to everybody. I think it makes all the sense in the world to go with utility vehicles rather than cruisers, given the fact that we are having weather conditions and we only have one SUV vehicle right now that's damaged as we speak.
It's actually in fair shop right now.
So, I know that we did have problems during the recent snowstorms. So if anybody has any questions for the chief?
Are these size of Explorers?
Yes. It's basically the same body.
I think Rochelle Park has one or
There's
two.
quite a few towns that have them. Paramus has them. Quite a few departments are using them.
It's a nice vehicle, but it's up higher and they're better line of sight.
With these vehicles, what are we turning off the road? Are we taking anything off the road? Or?
We're taking car 11, which is almost under the road right now.
Right.
In car 1. And I'm not sure which effective car will be getting rid of, whether it be the Chevy or the Commodore.
Car 1 is the old Ford.
It's all 4 town trucks.
Okay.
With respect to the detective's car, so you're ordering 2 that look like police cars?
Yes.
And then where is the detective's car coming?
It'll replace one of the vehicles that's there now.
But is that part of what we're,
Yes.
Yes,
so we're voting on 3 vehicles?
yes.
Correct.
Right.
One out of the DEA fund,
Yes.
which will be the detective car, and then the 2 out of our normal budgeting, which we've been budgeting, and Maywood's been budgeting for years for 2 vehicles.
And the detective is going to have an SUV also?
Yes, and the reason is I'd like to keep all the vehicles in the fleet the same pretty much, and it's more for the borough mechanic and for ordering parts, ordering tires. He doesn't have to look for a Chevy, or if we get a car for him, he doesn't have to get separate filters, wipers and tires for a car, and this for the utility vehicles. The fleet just stays the same. It's easier for him to maintain everything, get service manuals and everything else too.
But that one will be just black, lights on the roof?
It'll be a different color. I don't think it'll be black, it might be blue, I'm not sure what color it is. We'll determine that
Let's
later.
not tip our hand yet.
Yeah.
The undercover car will be the one that's parked out there.
No, it does not.
Is that one get retrofitted with lights in the grill?
It will have lights, and it has more covert lights, it won't have them outside, it won't have a cage put into it, but it will have lights and siren and radio put into it.
Okay.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, back to the agenda, Borough Administrator's report.
Mayor, I met with the architect today at the pool, trying to move along to get the specs for that prepared so we can go to bid. And it has become obvious because of the age of the building that we are probably going to have to amend the bond ordinance to include a substantial amount of, more money to take care of everything that needs to be done. We're concerned about what we're going to find when some of the plumbing fixtures are removed and the new ones have to go in, etc. So we just need better coverage. And we're meeting with a plumber to get his opinion after, besides the architect's opinion, to see exactly where we're going. But apparently we are going to have to amend that.
Yeah, obviously that building was built in 1966 and hasn't been substantially overhauled.
And the pool committee had considered, and it makes a lot of sense if we're doing this work, that we will be switching the sides. The women's locker room will now be by the kiddie pool, the men's locker room will be moved to the other side. And ironically, there was more space. I thought they were about the same, but the men's locker room was larger than the ladies, so it will accommodate the new things that we need to do, and there will, obviously, on the men's side, there won't be open showers anymore. There'll be shower stalls and dressing areas, which are required. There's no more open showers. The pool committee had requested that so that the women's area is closer to the kiddie pool. It just makes more logical sense. And since we're making the improvements that we are, this was the time to do it. The amount of fixtures will be basically what they've been. I think there's one less shower in the men's locker room than there currently is, but I don't know if any of you have been in it, but it's pretty ugly, and it's all open. So considering that now each of the showers will be enclosed with a partition, we are going to have fewer of them, but I don't think that will change anything for the men coming to the pool. And that's all I have.
Okay. Borough Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, I have a closed session report I need to give.
Committee reports, Councilman Lindenau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Small report. I spoke with Roy at the DPW. We are pretty much full of salt. We have about 300 tons. We could probably fit another 50 or 100 in there, but he feels real confident that we're not going to be short if they need it on Wednesday going into Thursday if we do get a little storm. They're prepared. All the vehicles have been maintenance and ready to go. They are continuing to fill potholes around town and repairing any street signs that may have gotten damaged during the storms. And that's all I have tonight.
Councilman Maroney.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things. I know you talked about Historical Society. It is the 120th anniversary of Maywood, but I want to know that March is also been the history month, scheduling something for this month. As far as the rec department is concerned, there's a shred day scheduled for May the 3rd. Details will follow, and all show was a big success in Pennsylvania this past week. Also, I want to just briefly comment about Read Across America Day, because we had loads of fun, yourself and Frank Messer and myself, and I believe maybe Al Ballerini was there. Were you there back for us?
I was.
You know, we read 6 to 8 Dr. Seuss books, and by the time we hit the fourth room, our tongues were all tied in knots. But we had a great time, and it was great for the kids. So I encourage everybody to take the time next year and do it. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Eisner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I met with the building inspector this morning. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses in Maywood that are vacant. 4 are probably either in foreclosure or already foreclosed on. 1, I'm not sure the status of, but dealing with these houses when they're not maintained, you have to call an 800 number, and you have to sit on hold for hours and hours and hours to get to nobody. And the building inspector and I discussed levying fines on these banks. Sooner or later, the house is going to be sold, and at that time, when they want to get a certificate of occupancy, they're going to have to pay for the fines, because it's just out of control, and nobody can sit on hold with these banks. It's just not practical. It's just unreasonable. With respect to the Hackensack Fitness, the brook still is not cleaned up behind it, but the building inspector found out that if no equipment is used, if you don't use a backhoe or any heavy equipment, no permit is required from the 2 agencies that would otherwise have to be notified, namely stream encroachment and DEP. If it's done by hand, if they send laborers in by hand, they can clean it up manually. So the building inspector spoke with the owner and with the attorney for the Hackensack Fitness about getting a few guys to hopefully go out there and get that rectified. And he's going to stay on top of them, because obviously they want their permanent CO, and they're not going to get it until the brook is cleaned up. I had the pleasure of attending the honor roll breakfast at Maywood Avenue School. Some of the other council who were there, the mayor, Councilman Borough, Councilman Ballerini, and it was a great pleasure to watch these kids who work so hard get their awards, and to be made to feel good about their achievements and their hard work. And it was a nice event, and I was glad to have been there. And other than the issue which was already mentioned with respect to the irregularities in the sewer repair, that's the extent of my report for this evening.
Great. Thank you. Councilman Messer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Following up on Councilman Maroney's words, the Read Across America Day was a tremendous event. It's a privilege when you're part of the municipal government and you get invited to read Dr. Seuss books to young children at the school. If you ever have an opportunity to do it, please do not pick up Fox and Socks and read that to the class. You will make yourself foolish in front of the kids, and it's all good. They all laughed. They had a great time. And by the way, Read Across America Day is in celebration of Dr. Seuss's birthday, for those of you who did not know. A couple of quick announcements. The MAS PTO has put in a tremendous amount of time and energy into their largest fundraiser of the year, which is their comedy night, scheduled for March 22nd at 7 o'clock at the Roosevelt Park Nights at Columbus. We're asking for everybody to come out and show their support to the school and to the different classes that this event benefits. There'll be professional comedians, dancing, raffles, and prizes. And also, just a note that the regular Board of Education meeting and work session that was scheduled for Wednesday, March 19th has been rescheduled to Tuesday, March 18th at 8 o'clock, and that the school budget will be discussed at that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Fabray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The library is getting prices currently to replace their outdated camera security system. Board member Salento is actually spearheading that. The shelves are in the library, as you can probably see from driving by, and the board is keeping our fingers crossed that the books will be back on there by sometime in April, and then those 4 big, gigantic bins out there will be out of the parking lot. I have a closed session item, and the only other thing I have is, Roberta, we need 2 more dates that you can give us to get the ID tags for the firefighters. Okay? Maybe I'll follow up with you on that tomorrow. I appreciate it. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Council President Ballerini.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to quickly pile on with regard to the Honor Roll Breakfast and the Read Across America Day. They were great events. Really did appreciate being there as well. One quick reminder regarding the Police Youth Academy. I think I mentioned this at our last meeting. The deadline is this week, the 14th of March, for young people between grades 8 and 12 to apply. The program is the 14th of April through the 18th of April, which I believe was originally spring break for our young Maywoodians, but now a couple of those days seem to be getting compromised due to the excessive snowfall. But there are details on the police website regarding the application process and to whom they must be submitted. One other item which I know has probably made its rounds on the internet and through the paper with regard to 2 fires that took place on the morning of March 2nd. The police department, the arson squad, and the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office have determined that those were intentionally set. And the Prosecutor's Office is asking for the public's help in determining who might be responsible for that. Again, the information is on the police website. The anonymous tip line, 201-226-5532, or residents can call the Maywood Police Department, 201-845-8800. I also have an item for close, but I have a feeling it's the same as the attorney's.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, a reminder, everyone, this is the 120th anniversary of the Borough. There will be celebrations and events going on throughout the year, including the theme of the 4th of July. It's one of those firemen in the back.
Actually, it's somebody's phone or a pager or something. That's what it is.
Anyway, this didn't happen 120 years ago. The 120th anniversary of the Borough. There are events going on throughout the year. I know the Rotary, I believe, is selling T-shirts this year, and the 4th of July parade will have a theme for the 120th. The Historical Committee is running a bus tour on the 27th of April, so watch for more events throughout the year. And the rec is hopefully going to do a soapbox derby towards the end of the year or in the fall. This year's Fall Fest will again coincide with the Fall 5K race on October 5 at the Memorial Park. The 4th of July parade will be on the 4th of July, which is a Friday, and the fireworks are going to be scheduled for July 6th, the Sunday, after the 4th. As you've probably seen in the paper, the Wellness Center in town had its grand opening the other day. It was a great event. A lot of people there, a lot of people from the Giants and Hackensack Hospital. And it was really a great event. If you haven't really checked out that facility, please do so, even if you don't intend on joining. It's a great facility to go take a look at. It's a wonderful facility to have in town, and it's really... it really is, in my opinion, the cornerstone of our Route 17 redevelopment and rebirth down there, and kind of has spurred new medical uses across the street at 113, or across Route 17 at 113 West Essex, which is having their grand opening, I believe, in 2 weeks. So things are moving along Route 17, and that's a very good thing for Maywood. To echo the council members' information about Read Across America. It was a great event. I got to read with Mr. Messar and Mr. Maroney a book that I purchased entitled The Mayor Has Some Silly Ideas. It is a fiction book. But it was a good time. We handed out bookmarks this year, and I think the children had a great time, as well as the council members and employees of the borough that showed up. And to echo Mr. Eisenberg and Mr. Ballerini's comments about the honor roll award ceremony, it was a very good ceremony to see the children in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade get acknowledged for their achievements, and especially since the fact that Councilman Eisenberg's daughter, Councilman Fabray's son, Councilman Maroney's daughter, Councilman Messar's son all received awards that day. So congratulations to them. With regard to the Police Youth Academy, I've had the privilege of working with that group for a couple of years. It's a great program. If there are any children that are interested in doing that, I highly recommend that you enroll. I know that it's really a good week, an interesting week to learn about police work and firefighting as well. I think they go up to the Fire Academy and do some work there. I have a brief note about an OEM matter. The Dixo property at 158 Central Avenue in Rochelle Park, that is right against the Route 17 overpass on Central Avenue. If you're heading into Rochelle Park, it's on the right-hand side. They're going through some remediation right now for some chemicals that are on that property, I believe dry cleaning chemicals. I think the remediation is going to be a couple of months, started this week, I believe. It is a typical remediation, however, not too typical in the fact that the 30-inch gas main line runs through that property, and they'll be digging around that property. The Williams Transcon people who control the pipeline will be on site at all times. The company that's doing the remediation, Rue Associates, is a remediation company. This is, they're not doing this themselves. And the Rochelle Park OEM, Fire Department, Police Department, and EMS have been working closely with Maywood's OEM, Fire Department, Police Department, and EMS to make sure that all the safety precautions are being looked at and watched on a daily basis, and that we're being as prepared as we can. So that is going on. I will continue to update you as it goes on, and we'll check on the progress as the months proceed. As the borough engineer indicated, paving projects on East Hunter and Fairmount should be starting within the next couple of weeks. We look forward to that. And I think I have a closed session meeting. Oh, and one more thing, the Monuments Committee of Mr. Maroney and Mr. Lindau and myself will be hopefully meeting with some representatives from the American Legion and VFW over the next week or so to get those projects underway for the spring. And that's all I have. And we can go to the action list items that everybody has on the agenda. I guess the first item is an item that we talked about last time, which is that repairing the steep slope ordinances, that we're going to wait for the planning board to have their review of the drafts that the engineer provided to us and hopefully present that to the council soon for adoption. As the borough engineer indicated at the last meeting, those are standard ordinances that I guess the state is looking for us to amend our zoning ordinance to include for major developments. I'm passing out a copy of the draft ordinance for amendment of number 2, which is section 263-2 and section 209-43 of the zoning ordinance, which is that restrictions of hours of operation. As we discussed previously, there's currently a restriction prohibiting 24-hour use of retail businesses located in the RC zones and in the A1 and A2 zones, if there are any. And this ordinance, if we move on it, will look to expand that restriction to include the townhouse zones, the professional office zone, and the Garden Apartment Zone, as well as the retail zone along the Bergen Town Center properties. So here's a draft ordinance for your review, and we could discuss it again at a future meeting unless anybody has questions at this time. That restriction, as I indicated, currently exists for those RC zone and A1 zone, but it does have, it restricts retail businesses between the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 a.m., but excludes restaurants, taverns, bars, banking uses limited to the operation of ATM machines, and government offices and facilities. So if we were to include those other zones, those same restrictions would apply to the other zones. It seems to make sense to include those other zones in that restricted area, hours of operation. Since most of those zones, actually all of those zones, are either residential in nature or abut residential properties or residential zones. So, I don't know if anybody has questions on that. Okay, the next item on the action list was Chapter 52. I think that was passed around previously. Those were the standard, I guess, updates that we have to make by law, I guess?
We do, yes.
Okay. I don't know if anybody has had a chance to review them from the last meeting and has any comments, and whether or not they wish to move, to put them on the agenda for the next agenda, to amend our ordinance. Anybody have any comments, thoughts? No, I should. So we'll move to put that on the next agenda. The next item is topic cat licensing. The Board of Health has brought to our attention that there are, we have restrictions on number of dogs that can be kept in town, but there are no restrictions on the number of cats. The Board of Health is recommending that we amend our ordinance to include cats in the same vein that we do dogs. Right now, there's a maximum number of dogs anybody can have at one house is 3 dogs over the age of 3 months. There's been a problem from reports from the health inspector of some properties maintaining 10, 20 cats. So it's become a health issue that the Board of Health is likely going to make a recommendation, a formal recommendation for a specific number in ordinance to be addressed at a future date. So I just want everybody to start thinking about that. And the current provision of our ordinance is Chapter 333. That applies to dogs. So if you want to take a look at that over the next couple of weeks, and I'm presuming that the Board of Health will make a formal recommendation either at their next meeting or soon thereafter. So just something to think about. And I don't know whether anybody has comments about that right now. All right. The last item on the action list is a request from the New York Susquehanna Railroad. They are replacing the rail line, the current rail line, I guess from, what was it, from Hackensack to Patterson?
North Bergen.
Yeah, it was a pretty long stretch. They received federal grant money to do that, and they're looking for the endorsement of every municipality for that grant approval or upgrade, every municipality that they run through. So they're seeking a resolution from us, just simply endorsing the replacement of the rails.
Park, North Bergen.
And upgrading their system. So unless anybody has any kind of issues with that, I'll put a general resolution on for the next meeting that says we endorse the upgrading of the rail line. It's not going to increase the ability for them to utilize different trains or anything of that nature. It's just really modernizing the rails that are there.
Will it have any effect on Maywood Avenue?
Maywood Avenue, other than the rail crossing, they may actually maybe repave that overpass. I'm
Finally
sure
fix
once they
it.
dig it up, they'll have to...
Yeah, because the county has, I had called the county because we had gotten some complaints about the condition of the roadway there, and the county is limited in what they can do, so if they ever get to doing this in our town, it would be an improvement because they probably would fix the road at that time.
Before they pave Maywood Avenue?
Well, that rail, I would presume that rail crossing is going to look like whenever you see an upgraded one, it's usually cement that they put in between there, and probably the paving will stop right there and then start again over when the county does come by and do the paving.
Also, it's welded, so the current ones are not welded at the joints that these new ones.
They're probably braced. They have those plate bracings. Yeah. So this is kind of a an upgrade.
Did they give you any indication of what kind of traffic problems this may cause when they're doing the repair?
I don't know. I don't know how long they'll have to be there. I would presume it's probably not, it's not that wide of a road at that intersection. So I don't know whether they're going to shut the road down completely or what they're going to do. So that's all I had on the action list. I don't know if anybody had any other comments or questions or anything. Otherwise, we can move forward with the agenda. We have no resignations tonight. There was an add-on appointment number 2 from the OEM. We have 2 appointments tonight, one for Adrian February as full regular member of the Maywood Fire Department Protection Hook and Ladder, effective March 11, 2014, and the second one for Christopher Hill as Logistics Resource Manager for the OEM, effective March 11, 2014, for a term expiring December 31st, 2014.
I'll move the appointments.
Second?
Roll call.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Maroni?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Nessa?
Yes.
Fabre?
Abstain for 1, yes for 2.
Ballerini?
Yes.
If there was ever a vote, I wish it would tie. We have council approval for the following. From the Rosary Society of Our Lady Queen of Peace Church, request to hold an off-premises 50/50 raffle on September 21, 2014 at 4 p.m. at 400 Maywood Avenue, Maywood, New Jersey. And number 2, from the Maywood Russell Park Girls Softball League, request to have Grant Avenue from Fairmount Avenue to the corner of Mendez Avenue closed for softball opening day on April 12, 2014 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Number 3, from the MYAA, request to hold opening day parade on April 12, 2014 along West Pleasant Avenue north on Wyoming Avenue to Memorial Park beginning at 9:30 a.m. From number 4, from John Claude Mercedes, permission to host 3rd annual Maywood Hawks 5K run walk on Sunday, October 5, 2014 at 9 a.m. Number 5, from the Maywood Rotary Club, request to hold their annual 5K race on May 17, 2014, starting at 9 a.m. from Memorial Park. Number 6, from the Maywood Fire Police, request to use the Memorial School parking lot, I presume on Fairmont Avenue, on March 22, 2014, for a trip to, where are they going? Pennsylvania?
Yes,
Pennsylvania for participating, for participants parking. Do you know what the times are for it? No. On March 22nd.
Yeah.
Say that a lot. Number 7, from St. Peter's Apostle Church, request to conduct a casino night raffle at the Maywood Inn on April 5, 2014 at 7 p.m. Through 11 p.m. We have a motion for the approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Roll call.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Maroni?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Nesser?
Abstain for 3, yes for 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Fabre?
Abstain for 6, yes for the others.
Ballerini?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, the times are 8 a.m. to 7 p.m.
The fire police? Thank you. Resolutions by title.
Resolution 5614, resolution confirming appointment of Michael T. Apicella as tax collector, official tax search officer of the Borough of Maywood. Resolution 5714, a resolution ratifying and confirming the purchase of tactical equipment for the Maywood Police Department with funds from the DEA account. Resolution 5814, resolution authorizing change order number 4 and final for the Terrace Avenue, Cole Street, and additional alternate streets resurfacing project. Resolution 5914, authorizing final payment and closeout for Terrace Avenue, Cole Street, and additional roads resurfacing project. Resolution 6014, a resolution ratifying and confirming the repairs to the elevator at the Maywood Public Library. Resolution 6114, resolution authorizing the purchase of 2 new police vehicles pursuant to state contract. Resolution 6214, a resolution authorizing the purchase of 2014 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicle for the Maywood Police Department with funds from the DEA account.
Do I have a motion for adoption?
Move for adoption.
Second. Roll call.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Maroni?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Nesser?
Yes.
Fabre?
Yes.
Ballerini?
Yes.
No introduction of ordinances. Do we have any new business? Any old business?
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to advise the council that I spoke with Lieutenant Attal about the cameras, the project that we had initiated some time ago. I just want to let you know that that is being refreshed. There was some requests for approval to Verizon about the placement of the cameras on poles. I know the Borough Administrator is working on that project as well, but just wanted to share with the council that update.
Thank you. Any other old business, miscellaneous business? Before we go into close, the trivia of the day, back to 1894. On November 7th, at the meeting on November 7th in 1894, 120 years ago, there was an ordinance introduced to require tires on wagon wheels. Just make sure you have tires on all of your wagon wheels. We have a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Roll call.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Barone?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Messer?
Yes.
Separate?
Yes.
Bellerini?
Yes.
Be resolved by the Mayor and Council of Borough of Maywood pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, the Mayor and Council in closed session discuss the following subject matters: contract negotiations and personnel. Be further resolved, session determined at this time, discuss and conduct in such closed session with the closed public upon taking final action thereon, provided that the closed shall not violate the attorney-client privilege or constitute undue invasion of privacy. Be it further resolved, the Mayor and Council of Borough of Maywood do not envision they will return to open session, but reserve the right to do so.
Okay, we are closed.
Mayor?
Where are we going?
Yes.
What? Ron? We're going to get